All right, today we got the top 5 head coaching candidates for the Chicago Bears, not named Mike Vrabel or Ben Johnson. Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are my 2 top candidates, yes. To me, it looks like Vrabel has a good chance of going to the New England Patriots, where he played for many years, won 3 Super Bowls. Ben Johnson could go anywhere. Jacksonville Jaguars, possibly the Raiders, where he could bring in his own personnel man. So, with the idea that maybe these 2 guys are off the market, here are my top 5 candidates for the Bears. And at number 5, we are going with Aaron Glenn, the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. I think Aaron Glenn has shown throughout the multitude of injuries the Lions have had, he has kept this defense competitive. They're the number 1 team in third down in the entire NFL with all the injuries they've had. Very impressive. Aaron Glenn also played in the league for 14 years. He'll have the respect of his guys. He knows what the players go through. Number 5, Aaron Glenn. Number 4 is Pete Caroll. Pete Caroll has probably the best resume of any coach in this cycle. But that's partially because it's so long. I love Pete Caroll. I mean, you could talk about he reached the playoff in 10 of his 13 seasons with the Seahawks. He's won a Super Bowl. He's one of 3 coaches to ever win an NCAA championship and a Super Bowl. He won 8 NFC West titles. But this guy is 73 years old. He'll be 74 years old by the time he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I want somebody that's young. I want somebody to be the Bears coach for the next decade. He's a defensive mind. His last offensive coordinator pick was Shane Waldron. We saw how that went in Chicago. Let's not go back there. All right, my number 3 pick for the Bears, not named Vrabel or Johnson, is Todd Monken. And he had an unbelievable offense this year. Number 1 in total yards, top 5 in points. People say, yeah, he had Lamar Jackson. Last year, top 5 in yards, top 5 in points. Let's go back to when he was last an offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when he had the most passing yards in the entire NFL, and his quarterback was Jameis Winston. This guy is a great offensive mind. He's a fiery guy. It might be too fiery for the McCaskies because he throws out some choice words. But he's a fiery guy. He's all about discipline. He keeps his players in line. Todd Monken is a good choice. My number 2 pick, my number 2 man, his name is number 2. No, it's Cliff Kingsberry. Cliff Kingsberry. I like Cliff. He's an offensive mind. You saw what he's able to do with Jaden Daniels. He was able to mold his offense around his quarterback. Us in Chicago don't know what that looks like. Give me a guy that knows how to do that. All his players love him. He has a relationship with Caleb Williams. I know his first go-round as head coach wasn't great, but he has learned from that. He has said as much. Cliff Kingsberry would be a nice pick, and my number 1 choice for the Chicago Bears head coach, not named Vrabel or Johnson, is B-Flow Brian Flores. And you can't doubt that his defense is one of the most feared defenses in the entire NFL. What he's been able to do with that unit has been impressive. This guy is all about discipline. He's all about accountability. There are some questions that he needs to answer about his past with Tua Tagovailoa. Ryan Fitzpatrick has came out and said some things about maybe he wasn't the best guy to work with the quarterback, but if he can get a good offensive mind to work with his quarterback, he said he's changed and he's improved his relationships with his quarterback, and he will be better. I like Brian Flores because of his discipline, his approach, and his accountability to be the next coach of Chicago Bears, not named Johnson or Vrabel.